Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.
Back here at our network studios. What's going on, Buckeye basketball fans? I'm Timmy Hall. Fighting a little bit of it here today, so bear with me on the voice. But look, I feel confident. I can never give you a guarantee. I don't want to do that as I track this stuff and have tracked it every day for the last 3 or 4 weeks. I feel confident that the bubble did just burst for Ohio State basketball. And this is, for me, just an ultra disappointing end to this season, where you go back just a little while. You go back to that run that they went on where they sort of found themselves. They found some of their toughness and their ability to survive basketball games. They were coming off a 1-point win on the road against Minnesota in a crazy game. I think Minnesota inexplicably fouled John Mobley in the end of the second overtime, or the first overtime, up 2, and let him tie the game to get to the double OT. The Buckeyes win that one. They get a key road victory after they just lost at home to Michigan State. Then you have the 2-point loss at home to Oregon. You're crushed. You have the 2-point loss on the road at Wisconsin, which would have been major. You're devastated. And then a 1-point overtime loss at home to Indiana, crushed again. But then when the season could have gone really bad, what do? They wake up and they beat Purdue in West Lafayette. Something about Jake Diebler and beating Purdue. I don't know. Then they beat Iowa. They dismantle Iowa after that. They beat Penn State on the road. You think that this is a team that's back. And even a close loss, a decent performance at Illinois, where, again, they let a decent-sized lead slip away in the second half and let Illinois just go on a huge run and get their crowd involved. And then they buried the Bucks late and won that one by 8, and it felt like it was a little more than that. But you beat Maryland at home, and that was the moment right there. I think when they beat Maryland, I kept saying this at the time. I said this a couple of times after they won that Maryland game. I said it for the Nebraska game that was right after, that if they won that game and got a big true road win, that they would get to almost a lock status for the tournament for me. And I thought that would have done something to their confidence going forward. They didn't get that win. They beat a Washington team that you had to beat. And then I said the same thing again. In your next game out, if you can beat Michigan at home on a weekend game in front of your home crowd, I think you're going to lock yourself a spot for the tourney. And once again, it was close, but not good enough. And then the disaster game against Northwestern, and that you just didn't. That was the one. It's the Northwestern game is the one everyone's going to circle, where things just went wrong and you weren't able to recover. Even in their wins, they weren't able to just roll to the finish line and, give each other high fives and, slow things down in the final minute. They were just crazy finishes against USC and Nebraska for this team to just win games, to get to the finish line. It was just very difficult for them to make all the winning plays, stack those plays, the rebounding plays, the toughness plays, getting good shots, getting, motion in your offense all the way through the final 4 minutes of the game. And it just wasn't enough. And we're going to go back out there to Indianapolis right now as the press conference is underway with head coach Jake Diebler and Ohio State player Micah Parrish after the 77-70 loss to Iowa bounces the Buckeyes from the Big Ten tournament.
Season, and we had some uncharacteristic mistakes there, and like some old veterans do, they made us pay, and I thought ultimately, that was the difference. Thought we had really good fight, played hard. We just had some defensive errors that they made us pay, and ultimately it was enough to be the difference.
Questions for Micah, please. Right here.
Yeah, Micah, Kevin Sweeney, Sports Illustrated. I'm sure you guys understood, the implications of this game, not just for the Big Ten tournament, but for your NCAA tournament hopes. I'm curious what the conversations were like pregame and how you felt like your energy was tonight.
I think we was ready. We wanted to win a game. We want to win every game. So not just being in the Big Ten tournament, but we want to win it for us. So we wasn't really looking too far in the future. We was just worrying about the present. So tonight we just didn't get it done.
Questions for Micah, please. Right here.
Gavin Dorsey on SI. Michael, on that last possession in which Brock Harding hit the, essentially the game-winning shot, can you just walk me through what happened on that possession, whether it was some kind of breakdown defensive lapse that he got that wide open?
I didn't get to see the play, but I'm just guessing that we tried to help each other. We just too far in the help. We was too far in the help each game, the whole game basically, and that's why they got both 8 So that's what I'm guessing. When somebody tried to help another teammate, and he got the wide open 3.
Questions for Micah, please? All right, seeing none, Micah,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep.
And we'll continue with Coach Diebler. Right here. Thank you.
When you think about some of the maybe missed opportunities this game and this season, I think about the Northwestern game in late February. Is there a common thread you feel like in some of those games, or is it just today you said it was maybe defensive lapses? Is there something you see overall that contributed to some of those poor performances in big moments?
I don't necessarily feel like today was a poor performance. I know we didn't maybe shoot the ball as well, and we had a couple defensive breakdowns, I think. But I felt like our energy and our effort was good. Again, they're playing with a lot of momentum, and they shot the ball from 3, and certainly some of that was our fault. But they made us pay when we made those mistakes. I mean, that's what teams that have kind of that momentum, and we've seen that lately as they, I think, adjusted to playing without Freeman. Who was a great player, certainly. So this game was different than the first time we played him. As far as some of the other opportunities, I think I'm really proud of how this team has stuck together and kept fighting, because a bounce here, a shot there, right? I mean, we're talking like we have lived in the margins this year, a little too much. And I think part of that is, some of our youth and inexperience. I think those are probably the moments that I reflect on. I think aside from, a couple halves in the non-conference against the tough schedule we played, and certainly for a portion of that Northwestern game, we played really tough and hard all season long. It just at times, right, toughness and playing hard isn't quite enough. You got to execute. Attention to detail becomes critical. I thought we got a lot better with that as the year went on. And I think our guys deserve a lot of credit for that. It's why we're in this position, right, heading into today and beyond. So there will be a time after, to really reflect back. But I think overall I'm proud of just how this team has stuck together and overcome a lot. I mean, this team's overcome a lot. And I think most teams, could have folded and wouldn't have an opportunity like, how big and meaningful today's game was.
Questions, please. Right here.
Matt McGowan with the Daily Iowan. Coach, you talked about Iowa playing without Owen Freeman this time around. What's different about them without Freeman in the lineup?
Well, I think before they were really trying to find him touches near the lane. It was a big part of their offense, and not that they weren't doing the other things, right? The motion screening, the ball screen actions, but a lot of what they were doing was predicated off him getting touches. And he's a great player. I mean, he's proven that since the day he came into the league. Now, right, they aren't doing that. Those possessions, which were a significant part of their offense, are no more. And you're seeing Dix and Sanford, both Sanfords, playing at a really high level with a little bit more increased volume. They were certainly had significant volume before. But I thought, Harding deserves a ton of credit. I thought he managed a really good game for them. Played with great poise, had some big-time plays at the end of shot clock. And so I think the dynamic of their offense was a little bit different, certainly. But the foundation of who they were was to play with great pace and, the motion screening and stuff. So I think that's the biggest difference, those paint touches that they were getting or kind of mid-post touches.
Right here.
In the second half around the U8, you guys tied it, and then they took the 63-61 lead, and I think you guys had 5 cracks at tying it again or going back ahead, and there were 3 turnovers in that stretch, a couple pull-ups. Like, what did you see from your offensive execution in those moments? And did you feel like you got the possessions you wanted, or how did those play out?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, one was an offensive foul, which, from my vantage point, certainly, don't necessarily agree with. But the game wasn't won or lost there, certainly. I think we had an opportunity on a backdoor cut, executed perfectly. We bobbled it right at the rim. That was another one, and so, but we got the ball at some pretty good position, but turnover certainly. And I think that's been something we've been fighting to get better at, really, in some of these stretches, is some of these empty possessions with turnovers. And I thought offensively we did some really good things. I thought Bruce Thornton was phenomenal. Again, I think he's one of the best players in the league. I think he deserves to be treated as such in games, and hasn't been for whatever reason this year. But I'm proud of some of the segments we had, the segment to fight back. And in that moment, we've got to have, we need more poise offensively.
Anything else for Coach? Thank you, Jake.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, there are some additional comments from, or actually, no, we didn't have Jake Diebler on with Paul and Ron. We had Joel Justice, so those were the comments from head coach Jake Diebler. Very disappointing. You could hear it in his voice. You really can tell this is going to hurt for these guys. 77-70, Iowa bounces Ohio State as they do not get a lone victory to get the ball rolling here at the Big Ten tournament here in 2025. We'll have a little reset coming up here. Again, Iowa beats Ohio State 77-70. More coming up on the Encova Insurance postgame show on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Union Home Mortgage knows Buckeye fans never leave Ohio State behind. We've helped millions of first-time home buyers get into their dream home through our 1% down payment program. Put as little as 1% down, and UHM tosses in up to 2% on the house. Learn more at UHM.com or call 877-846-4968. Union Home Mortgage Corp is an equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 2229. UHM will contribute up to 2% down, no greater than $2,000 towards a 3% down payment. Home buyers responsible for the remainder of the down payment. This offer is available for the purchase of a primary residence only. For full terms and conditions, visit UHM.com.
Ready?
It doesn't matter if you're playing hard or working hard. Your workout only works out if you recover right. Chocolate milk helps you recover for what comes next. It's delicious and contains the right mix of protein and carbs to help refuel exhausted muscles. From biking to bench presses, Milk's protein helps you build lean muscle and gain more from your workouts.
Ready? Recover. Repeat. Brought to you by the American Dairy Association Mideast, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
For 100 years, our passion at Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Now back to the Encova Insurance Buckeye postgame show on the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, Buckeye men's basketball fans. Timmy Hall here with you at our network studios. 77-70, Iowa holds off Ohio State to advance in the Big Ten tournament. So we had a billing for this game coming in that it was either win or see your NCAA tournament bubble burst. And a lot of people were of the mindset that just winning today didn't guarantee you a spot. I thought that it was at least going to sneak the Buckeyes into Dayton. And now I think that they lost this. They are done, which I will point you to the crown of college basketball. I will get full disclosure. I'm not a fan of an event like this. Look, you're playing for the NCAA tournament, so you're going to have to rally the troops, and there's going to be some disappointment. And again, with the way the sport works, and when you miss out on a key goal, and with college basketball being so year to year, just look at when Jake Diebler took over. You had Scotty Middleton hop in the portal. Felix Okpara was gone. Then Roddy Gale was gone. These were all, I believe, guys that you would have liked to have back. I don't know what the full story was on Felix Okpara versus Aaron Bradshaw coming in, but I certainly didn't want to see a freshman like Scotty Middleton leave when you had a year of development under your belt and a guy with some good length, too. Not to say he was going to be an all Big Tenner, but something that you could use there. So I don't know when the college basketball crown, that's a new NIT competitor. That's where I'm going with that, guys. That's what you could be looking at here. Doesn't start until March 31st. So it's not like Selection Sunday is 3 days from now, and then later that week you play that first game, and then you have a gap, you play another game like the Buckeyes did in the NIT last year, where they got some home court basketball games. I think that's the difference. The NIT comes in and runs it, but you were at least playing in your home gym. And at that point, I want to say Scotty was the only one that wasn't there for the Buckeyes. Most of that team was still there. But you just don't know. You really don't. How much is going to be affected with this roster by the time you would get to that event? And the reason I'm still talking about it is because read the fine line for what this new event is. It's a made-for-TV thing. It's with Fox Sports and AEG, so they're using their 3 big conference partners, the Big Ten, Big 12, and Big East. And they get 6 picks, 2 from each of the conference. You would think Ohio State would be one of the first 2, not in the NCAA, maybe the Bucks, maybe Nebraska. And you have to play. You can't sit back and say, no, we're good. They say to you, no, you're not walking out of this family fun. We're going. You're coming to Vegas. If it's the last thing you do, you're coming to Vegas. So they have to do it. March 31st, April 6th. By my eye, trying to get a read on this. Looks like it's kind of like a Big Ten tournament where you win, you keep playing day to day, and it's there near the end, sandwiched there in between the Sweet 16 Elite 8 rounds and the Final Four National Championship Monday. So the 6th, the 6th of April, that is on Sunday. So the night before the national championship game. So that's could be what you're looking at right there. We'll go over the game one more time and how it happened for the Buckeyes tonight. Final score 77-70. Ohio State falls to Iowa in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. More of the Encova Insurance postgame show coming up on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota. Now through March 31st, get 2.99 APR financing or up to $3,000 customer cash on a powerful new 25 Tundra. Depending on model, excludes TRD Pro. Or lease a 25 Tundra SR Crew Max for $449 a month or 36 months with $39.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
High-scoring offense and lockdown defense are the ingredients of a winning team. For every other ingredient, Buckeye fans trust Giant Eagle and Market District. Ready-to-eat prepared foods, a thrilling selection of fresh favorites, and everyday value from our family of brands are game day go-tos. Plus, like the Buckeyes pile up points on the court, you can score perks and earn free gas and groceries with My Perks. Giant Eagle, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hear every Buckeye game every year. The Fan.
Buckeyes are known for paying it forward. That's why Buckeyes Care strives to serve the betterment of our community by positively impacting families across Ohio. Join American Electric Power, Donato's, Kroger, the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, the James Cancer Hospital, Huntington Bank, and WBNS TV in Columbus in supporting this cause at ohiostatebuckeyes.com/BuckeyesCare. More of the Encova Insurance postgame show coming up on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
For 100 years, our passionate Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Now back to the Encova Insurance Buckeye postgame show on the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
All right, Buckeye basketball fans, Timmy Hall here with you back at our network studios. Let's wrap this one up. Let's try to figure out where it went wrong. And look, I think you've got to recognize that this was not a Buckeye basketball team at any point this year that showed us that they were going to be racing to compete for a Big Ten championship. With the rebounding issues, with some of the issues, we talked about the college basketball kill shot chart, something you guys should take a look at. Google that, and there's some good diagrams out there that track this stuff all year. And that basically tells you the story of teams that go on hot runs and then in a 10-0 run, and then teams that give up a lot of 10-0 runs. And Ohio State was not on the good part of that diagram this year. And you saw it a lot here late. Like you certainly saw it late in the game against Indiana. What did the Hoosiers go on a 12-0 run down the stretch there? Buckeyes were up 10. And again, I know when you're on the road, being up by 10, you haven't won the basketball game. You still got to play hard, make a lot of plays, and play smart, take good shots. But those were a lot of things that the Buckeyes were not capable of doing in the final 4 minutes of that game. This game here tonight, it was a little disappointing because you know that Iowa's never going to be the strong defensive team. There was a while there in the first half where, after the ridiculously sluggish start for both teams, that was a problem for me, that you hold Iowa to 0 points in almost the first 6 minutes of basketball. Think about that. They scored 77 points. They didn't score until it was about the 14-minute mark. It was crazy. They were, I think, 1 for 10 to start the game. Or that was the Buckeyes, excuse me. Iowa was, I think, 0 for 5. The Buckeyes were actually getting to the free throw line and made their 6 points. But 6 was all you were able to muster while keeping Iowa scoreless for a 6-minute stretch to start the game. You'd like to hope that you're up 15 or 20 by then. And then the 3 ball started to really work for Iowa. And it almost seemed that the Buckeyes simply could not defend or contest the 3-point line for much of this game. And when you give shooters like Peyton Sandfort, like Josh Dix, like Price Sandfort, who've been coming along here lately, he had 10 points and he had a couple threes. He was critical. You had 15 from Brock Harding, hit all of his threes, 3 for 3, 15 off the bench. Right there, the bench production for Iowa was something that Ohio State could not match, where you just had Quez Glover's 3. That was it. Aaron Bradshaw, he actually hit the glass, but he had real major problems trying to put the ball in the bucket. And he actually got the ball in the post 4 times, and it was not pretty when he tried to put it up. A couple times he was not even able to hit the rim. But Bradshaw did have 6 rebounds, and that's only the 3rd time all season that he had more than 5 rebounds in a basketball game. So that was something. Bruce was insane for the Buckeyes. You really do tip your cap. 24 points and 9 assists. He got started in the second half, though, and really started to find his spots where he could hit his shots and keep this team in it. Devin Royal with 17, and Micah Parrish with 16 points, even though Micah didn't register a rebound. And that's something that you've needed from that position. Sean Stewart had 4 rebounds and 2 points. So, again, you see that lack of production. 2 points between your 2 5-star high school recruits that you got from Duke and Kentucky. 2 points, 10 rebounds combined for Stewart and Bradshaw. It's been a thing. It's been a thing that has made the Buckeyes struggle down there all year to give them an extra element to take some pressure off of Devin Royal. And John Mobley Jr., look, he's a brilliant player. He's going to hit a lot of threes. I hope we get this guy back. He is sensational when he starts feeling it. But when he's been off, we've seen it sort of affect the other parts of his game here later in the year. And maybe a little bit more of that today with the turnovers. He had 3 turnovers, did not have an assist, did not have a steal. You like to see some of those other plays come into play when you're 2 for 10 shooting the basketball. He knocked down a couple threes and had 8 points. But to me, it was Iowa getting so comfortable seeing the ball go through the hoop that confidence in their shot just extended throughout the rest of the game. And then they were actually making some decent contested shots because they were, you know that as a shooter, when you are making shots early in the game, it feeds. It's fuel for you going forward. I think some of that was there. And then in the final possession where Bruce hits the shot to get you down 2, and it was the same thing. You lose sight of the 3-point line and you get a wide open look, and Iowa buries it to go up by 5 with 8 seconds left or 16 seconds left, whatever that was. And that really was kind of it. It really was it. And now you sit around and wait to see what tournament you're going to play in. It's likely going to be the college basketball crown. And I do not believe they're going to get some NCAA tournament life here, but we will see. Selection Sunday is coming up, and I will leave it just the end of the regular season and conference tournament play. We are all feeling it here as Buckeye basketball fans. We all know it. We can all feel it. We can see it. We can taste it. We watch these games together. We're passionate about this team. This is one of the winningest programs in Big Ten history. This is a team, this is a program that means something. When you look at their Big Ten championship banners and the heyday that they had under Thad Matta, that was not that long ago. And it's the standards, and it's just the bar that you envision here. And this is just Jake Diebler's first year as head coach, but I'm sure he's learned an awful lot about what it is, what the differences are in being an assistant coach or being an interim coach to then running the program and all that goes into it with the portal, with NIL, with how you build the team, and then trying to maximize and change some things as the season goes along. There was a lot of close games. There were 15 close games for this Buckeye team that I see as being winnable games that are for either team, that are 2-possession games that are close late. And they won some of those, right? They won the Maryland game at home. They won the Minnesota game on the road. They beat Purdue. Those are games that they won, right? They beat USC and Nebraska. Those are the 5. But then there were a bunch of games: Michigan State, Oregon, Wisconsin, Indiana, Illinois, Nebraska on the road, Michigan, Indiana, Iowa tonight. Just those 2-possession games that they weren't able to figure out a way to get that thing over the finish line. Why don't we hit a legal ID before we are done and wrap it up and close out here? You're listening to Buckeye Basketball from Learfield.
Always your home for Buckeye basketball.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus.
Your flagship station for Ohio State athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Buckeyes go down. 3rd straight year they run into Iowa in the Big Ten tournament. They won the last 2. They lost this one tonight, 77-70. Hot shooting for the Hawkeyes was too much for the Buckeyes. Thanks for listening to the Encova Insurance postgame show, brought to you by Encova Insurance. All rights to the material contained in this broadcast are retained as the copyrighted property of The Ohio State University and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without expressed written authorization. The commercial advertisements made in connection with this broadcast were made for the promotional purposes of the sponsors and should not be construed as an endorsement by The Ohio State University of the products or services. The Ohio State Sports Network is a production of Radio Ohio Incorporated. The announcers for today's game were chosen by Radio Ohio and Learfield in conjunction with The Ohio State University. The executive producer of Ohio State Radio Sports is Skip Mossick. On behalf of our studio producer, Bodie Wells, all season, and for Paul Keels and Ron Stokes, I'm Timmy Hall, inviting you to join us on a little time called We'll See. Stay tuned to this station for information on the next Buckeye basketball game as we await tournament play. Tonight's game has been brought to you statewide by the American Dairy Association Mideast. Again, the final score 77-70. Iowa takes down your Buckeyes in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. Thanks for listening. This is the Ohio State Sports Network presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
And brought to you locally by your Central Ohio Toyota dealers on your home of the Buckeyes. Live and local weekday mornings beginning at 6.